David Hochberg and Team Hochberg are at it again with something that amounts to perks at work. It's an affinity program, meaning a benefit program for your employees. I think the best person to describe this would be David Hochberg, who tells us what, in fact, it is.
A real estate package to the business, to the employees of those businesses. If they're looking to refinance, you get a deep discount. If you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, we've partnered with realtors throughout the United States and title companies throughout the United States to offer substantial discounts. So we're able to offer your employees, if you're a company owner or a benefits manager or HR manager, huge discounts on refinancing and huge discounts if your employees are buying or selling a home.
So here's the deal. You would actually have something that's not going to cost you any money as a company, presented as a benefit to your employees, which can mean they're going to lower their purchase price. Their appraisal value is going to be benefited by this. You get an appraisal credit, a realtor credit, a lender credit, a title credit. It all adds up to savings and happier employees. How do you get more information? Go to 855-56-DAVID. That's the phone number. Call up, leave a message, ask your questions, or go to 56david.com and drop David Hochberg an email. Another great idea from Team Hochberg and David Hochberg at 855-56-DAVID or 56david.com. Let's go, company benefits managers. Let's do something for you and your people.
The Deep Six. 6 stories from your world in 30 minutes or less. Hosted by Patty Steele and Steve Cochran. The Deep Six is on.
Well, we're glad to be back. Welcome to the Deep Six. We appreciate your patience as we have been in and out for the past couple of weeks. Oh, you know, the summer. But it's
I
us.
was here, and you're the one that was out. So,
well, you were out accepting awards prior to that.
Oh, that was before that. That's right.
Yeah. It's Patty Steele in New York. I'm Steve Cochran in Chicago. And this is the Deep Six. Two stories, two friends.
Oh, my God. You better let me do this again.
You do it.
2 friends, 6 topics, and just give or take 30 minutes.
That's exactly right. Hey, I've got a little personal news. You are on WCBS FM every morning.
Yes.
And I literally just started a brand new radio show in Chicago on the legendary WLS, where I am on every morning.
How come you didn't tell me about that?
I should have told you. I should have called. Yeah, the big 890 WLS every morning. So you can hear us both online because of the time difference. I think the way it would work is you can pick up my last hour, maybe. Nah, you know what? Listen to them all on podcast. We want you to listen to the podcast anyway.
Listen to me, and if you get sick of me, then go to Steve. But I really think you'll stick with me.
I think you probably will as well. All right, let's go to the entertainment, or as what we like to call it, topic number 1.
The Deep Six. Story number 1.
You have news for me on a movie you love. I've heard a lot about it. How good is Adam Sandler in Hustle?
He is absolutely amazing. And here's the reason I say he's amazing, because I really never cared for most of the stuff he did.
Right.
I didn't, unlike you, I didn't even really love Uncut Gems.
I didn't love it. I loved him in it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I did think he was amazing. And you know why? Because he totally turned me around about who he was and what he was capable of.
Yep.
And that's what was amazing. But the thing that I love about Hustle is I love the story. I love his personality in this. He's so real. It's amazing. And his co-stars, the young guy that stars as this basketball player that Adam Sandler's character discovers in Spain, is actually a real life basketball player for the Utah Jazz. He's this 6'9" guy from Spain who is just the most natural actor you can imagine. And
Sandler has been bragging and talking about that guy, bragging for him and talking about that guy for every PR hit that he's done, talk shows and everywhere else, says the guy's been amazing.
Yeah, he really, and it's funny because the young guy whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, but he's really great. He talked about how he didn't really want the job at first. He said, I love basketball. That's what I do. And they kept coming back to him. And he finally sat down with them and decided, okay, let me give it a shot. And he said, Adam said to him, I have this woman, I think her name was Adriana Gentili I think based in Philadelphia. Since this is a story about the Philadelphia 76ers.
Right.
And he said, go to her and she will help you. And this young basketball star said, I will know her for the rest of my life. She is the most beautiful, soulful person. And she taught me how to just dig deep into who I am for this character. And it's just it's a great story. It's a great backstory.
It's a cool story, right? And an NBA
Hollywood
career is not going to last
Reporter.
forever. But
I was just going to say, Hollywood Reporter is where you can read the story about this movie.
And the actor slash NBA star slash actor. Let me try this for you. Juancho Hernan Gomez.
All right. I take it.
I have no idea if it's even close.
It's probably close, but he is 6'9". He obviously in the movie, he looks like an incredible basketball player. I'm going to assume since he's an NBA player, he's an incredible basketball player in real life.
Right, pretty good.
But he's just he's a beautiful soul. And you see all of that come out. You see the problems he had in his young life and how he's dealt with those and his path forward. And I just thought it was an incredible movie.
And it's Netflix, yes?
It is Netflix, yes.
Okay.
And interesting, I will say this, the LA Times, it's got like a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes. The LA Times said that Adam reminded them of Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire.
Wow.
And they said, this is a guy in love with the game that just doesn't always love him back. And that
and I'm glad you mentioned Tom Cruise, because even though Top Gun Maverick's been out for a while, when I was out of town, I saw it, and man, I really want to dislike Tom Cruise. I think he's a nut. I think he's done a lot of damage, but he is such a good actor.
He is way better than anybody ever used to give him credit for.
Yeah, because Top Gun Maverick is just summer schlock. It's a fun movie, and it's entertaining and all those things. But he just nails it. He nails every performance.
He makes it into something more than that because he brings heart. He also he's very self-deprecating in this, which you wouldn't expect for a big, gigantic movie star. So
next up on the entertainment topic is a guy who I know well because I've been his stunt double for years, Bradley Cooper.
He is absolutely amazing. He told this great story about when he got his first Oscar nomination. Now, he's been nominated 9 times and never won an Oscar. But the first time was for Silver Linings Playbook. And he said, and he was talking on this podcast about how he had come through cocaine addiction and just basically self-loathing. And Will Arnett, he said, is the first guy that said to him, it's such a great podcast. Will Arnett said to him, I got to tell you, he came to him one night and he said, you and I had dinner the other night. And he said, how do you think that went for you? And he said, he said it was one of those nights where he said I was really stoned and I had been drinking and been doing coke and I thought I was hysterical. And he said, Will looked at me and just went, you were such a total asshole.
Wow.
And he said, I looked at him and then he said, look at your dog sitting there. It's 4:00 in the afternoon. Have you taken him out of the house yet? And he said he hadn't. And he said he suddenly realized because this guy who was his friend confronted him and just said, get your act together. And he said that was the beginning of him really healing himself. And so as time went by, then, he got this Oscar nomination for Silver Linings Playbook. And he was up against Daniel Day-Lewis, Hugh Jackman, Joaquin Phoenix, and Denzel Washington. And he said, I was just completely beside myself.
Right.
I didn't care if I won. Look at the company I'm in. So he was at an event and he said, and he didn't name names, but he said this super legendary actress walked up to him and said, I saw your movie. You deserve the nomination. And he said, I said, what? I'm sorry. And she said, the nom. And then he said, so not the award. You deserve to be nominated. Right. So then 20 minutes later, he's going to the bathroom. She's coming out of the ladies' room, and she looks at him and mouths to him, "Only the nom."
Wow.
He said,
That's
that's
just
when I
mean.
went, wow, this Hollywood is really messed up.
That's mean. Now, I never knew Bradley Cooper had a partying issue.
Yeah. Huge partying issue with cocaine. He said it was just, he said he was a very insecure individual. And that was the only, he said, you do that. And for a certain number of minutes, you feel like you own the world. He said it doesn't last. And it only gets worse because then you go home and you don't even know who you were or what you did.
Wow.
And he said, but, then you go out again another night and you do the same thing. And it's funny because he has played in A Star Is Born and some other movies. He's played some severely addicted individuals and done a really incredible job. And so you kind of understand where he came from. And he also has been talking about this new movie he's doing where he plays Leonard Bernstein. It's called Maestro. And he said that even as a little kid, he always wanted to be a conductor. And he said, I would use whatever instrument was around to like conduct music. And he said, so doing this movie, and it's getting huge talk. So
and imagine that, for anybody that suffers with insecurities, you're Bradley friggin' Cooper,
right? Drop dead beautiful.
Yeah, you're a gorgeous male.
Yeah,
you are clearly talented, and you're still rattled with insecurities.
Right, and that's why I love the fact that he kind of has embraced those characters in some of the films he's been doing and not worried about whether he maintains that beautiful image that he has, and instead is looking deeper inside as to who he is and where he's come from.
Over the years, we continue with the entertainment topic. Over the years, you and I have met pretty much anybody we've wanted to meet, so we're lucky.
Yes.
But in the process, in the last couple of years, this thing Cameo has popped up.
Right.
And Cameo is a service where you can get video greetings and if for a birthday, for any special celebration, or to be mean to somebody,
right?
I suppose. And for various prices, depending on your level of celebrity and demand, you can pay a bunch of money and get a greeting from said person. I believe as recently as last fall, Caitlyn Jenner was the most expensive person on Cameo at like $2,500 a pop.
Wow, that's really interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
But our friend Bryan Cox, who of course is the father,
the genius father on Succession, right?
On Succession, he gets one request over and over and over again. It's 2 words. And he charges $689. Not sure why they landed on that, but $689 per time. And all you have to do is request that he tell somebody to fuck off.
I was wondering about this because it isn't just fuck off. He goes, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, he elevates it to an art form. And in a way that I haven't heard the F word used since Richard Pryor. And
now, can you get him to say, fuck off, Steve?
Yeah, I think he can. I think he'll literally get it done.
I love it. So
I'm making a list of people I used to work for so I could send them Bryan Cox greetings at $689 a clip.
Yeah, well, you just have to make sure if you assign a name to it that it's the same name.
Right.
It's all the people who are named Steve or whatever.
I have not seen, I haven't spent any time with it. But I've not seen anybody I know on Cameo. Have you?
No, in fact, I'm just looking at the list here. You could get for $125, you could get Jordan Schlansky to say what.
Oh, that's Conan's producer.
It's who?
Conan, one of Conan's producers.
Oh, so maybe he'd be very funny.
No, he's just a weirdo. He's a weird little dude.
You could get Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore for $220. Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray for $90. I'm looking for cheap
Shooter McGavin, by the way, is an important featured star on Hacks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the boy for. I'm spacing on the name of the lead in Hacks. Tremendous actress.
Okay.
And I highly recommend Hacks if you get a chance to see it.
Tommy Chong will do it for $150.
I bet he will.
So, what this tells you is that Bryan Cox gets that kind of money because it's fuck off, right?
Oh, good point. Yeah.
That's because the other guys are, you look at some of these people and they're big star and they're, fairly, Tommy Chong's a fairly big star.
Yeah.
Barry Williams from the Brady Bunch, but they don't own fuck off. So
no, fuck off is special.
The Deep Six, number 2.
Johnny Depp is not the biggest story to come out of Johnny Depp's own trial and victory.
Right.
It's attorney Camille Vasquez.
Oh, huge. I mean, now here's the question. Supposedly she's been offered all these Hollywood deals.
Yeah.
Are her deals about her appearing in acting? Are they about her story? Or are they about creating a series based on her kind of stories?
I think a little bit of all of that. She's an attractive woman. We don't know if she has any talent to act.
Right.
But
if you're a lawyer, you do.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, a great lawyer, that is entertainment. But the first person I thought of when I saw that she is a Hollywood A-lister now by association is Marcia Clark.
Yep. Yeah.
Because Marcia Clark was the woman everybody talked about in the OJ trial. And for a while, she was the go-to with all those people that developed careers and jobs and whatever out of the OJ trial coverage. She was one of those. And I don't know, is she still a lawyer? I don't even know what she does now.
I don't know, but the difference between that, because what was that, 27 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, 94.
Yeah, so 27, 28 years ago, you didn't have all the outlets that you have now because you didn't have a vibrant internet. You didn't have a really vibrant, streaming. You didn't have any streaming on television. You didn't have all that much. So her options for playing off on that were, I guess, somewhat limited. She did a lot of appearances on news channels and, like the early news channels, like what would it be, like Fox, and Fox was around then, right?
Yeah. Fox, CNN, and MSNBC was not around, but Fox. Yeah, I'm almost positive Fox was around then.
Yeah. So she wouldn't have had the opportunities that Camille will have if she wants to go for it. That's the question.
I need your explanation on a movie that originally started off in a completely different vein and has now turned into something I don't understand. We've talked a while about the fact that maybe Broadway has run out of ideas.
Uh-huh.
They've just had the Tony Awards recently for a pretty good season.
Right.
But for a long time, it was remakes of Hollywood movies. And those are still happening. And they're bringing back old Broadway shows in redos. That's still happening. But you would think Hollywood would never run out of ideas. Can you explain this Barbie movie to me starring Ryan Gosling and
Margot Robbie? Yeah. No, I don't know, because when it started out, Amy Schumer was going to play Barbie. So I had a whole different sense. This was going to be kind of comedic.
Yeah, and a body positive thing, right?
And a body positive thing, but funny and body positive. And all of a sudden they made this big about face. They got Ryan Gosling and they got they switched out Amy Schumer, who basically said she left because the shoes were too tight, but who knows?
Right.
And I don't know. I don't quite get what it's supposed to be. I mean, I know it's kind of an adventure film.
But it's not going to be for little girls, right? With this cast?
Probably not. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see because I think it has became a work in progress when they decided they were going to change the talent and change sort of, just the way they expected people to take it. I think, I really don't. I wish I could tell you more. But I think
you're holding back from me. I think you do know. And
I know the whole thing. I'm the producer. I'm the executive producer.
I think it's super secret. Speaking of Amy Schumer, she is featured in our final bonus entertainment topic item, which is another movie that's coming out that was actually a news story a couple of years ago, but it's finally on the verge of being made. Jerry Seinfeld's Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart story.
Yes. Well, it's funny when that story first came out, I talked about it on the radio and I just thought it was a joke because it was a bit that he had done years ago. He did this bit about Pop-Tarts, and it's a typical, you can imagine, it's a typical Seinfeld type of a discussion. And
Sure.
with him, he just talked about how when he was a little kid, he went into the store and he sees this thing, these Pop-Tarts, and then eventually they became frosted. But in the beginning, they were not frosted. And I personally prefer the unfrosted. So I'm going.
Well,
with
you're
him.
old school when it comes to
I'm
your
old school
Pop-Tarts.
when it comes to my to my junk food. But he said he became obsessed with them when he saw them in the store as a little boy. And so he was going to make a movie about it. And I thought it was a joke. And here we are. Not only is he making it, but it's going to be he's got a lot of stars in it, right?
He's got a lot of stars in it. Amy Schumer, who we just talked about,
Right.
Hugh Grant, Melissa McCarthy, my pal Jim Gaffigan, James Marsden, Jack McBrayer, who you probably know best from
30 Rock.
30 Rock. Yeah, that would be.
He was great on that show. He
Bobby
was
Moynihan, who is a Saturday Night Live alum, Max Greenfield.
Jeez.
Another guy I did a movie with, Christian Slater. Just a very deep cast.
Yeah. It's
all
really,
talking Pop-Tarts.
Yeah. It's funny because they say it is a tale. This is what their publicity says: a tale of ambition, betrayal, sugar, and menacing milkmen.
It's an amazing process to develop a movie and get somebody to give you the money to make the movie.
Right.
And granted, Seinfeld has that sort of thump.
Yeah. And money.
But the pitch meeting for this, where the people, the shallow people sitting on the other type of the table, oh, we've been waiting for the right breakfast food movie. This is going to lead the category. We're excited.
So this is either going to be really great, or it's going to be one of those things where, it's Rotten Tomatoes, like a 22, and everybody goes, if you love Seinfeld, don't go see it. I don't know.
I don't know either. And it's going to create possibly some sort of, thing where you get typecasted into only doing Cocoa Puffs, the movie, Count Chocula, the movie.
Yes. If it's a breakfast movie, Seinfeld's in. It is going to be interesting. It's set in 1963 in a town in Michigan. So, I think it'll be interesting to see, but you have any idea when it's going to be out?
I would guess 2023, because I would hope they could turn it around fairly quickly. But I would also advocate for possibly combining this with the Barbie movie and save us both some time.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. What a society we live in, right?
Now, when you talk about Pop-Tarts, that's not exactly your top shelf health food, right?
No.
And let's do a couple of stories on health. And
Okay.
we rehearse this, believe it or not.
Right.
And when we talk about what we're going to do, we kick around a bunch of different items. And one of the items that I thought we would do now, I can't find in my material at all. So I'm switching.
Okay.
So you are an expert on booze.
I'm a little offended and pleased at the same time.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't be. You're an expert on booze. I'm an expert on high cholesterol. What if we combine the two?
Perfect.
High cholesterol, the alcoholic drink shown to significantly lower your bad cholesterol. Now, good cholesterol helps you take care of your heart. You got to have it.
Right.
Bad cholesterol is really bad for you. What sort of booze, my booze friend, would you think would help get rid of the bad cholesterol?
Help get rid of bad cholesterol?
Yeah, help keep your bad numbers down.
I'm always going to deflect back to Dr. Oz, because I did a couple of podcasts with him. And he always said, if you're dieting or trying to stay healthy, your best booze is tequila.
Red wine.
Oh, of course. Duh.
Yeah, red wine with resveratrol.
Yes. For
resveratrol
cholesterol,
can possibly prevent damage to blood vessels and all that. Now, everything in moderation. You can't go home and polish off, a box of bottles of red wine tonight.
A box of
wine. A box of bottles. I think it's called a case, Steve. A case of red wine, or, a box of red wine. Either way, it's bad for you.
Right. No, you don't want to do that. But a glass with your dinner is good. No, it is good for you. I do know that. But I guess I was thinking, I don't know, like tequila hit me because he had said that because it's made with agave, and you get a lot of bang for your buck, it's actually the best thing if you're going to have like one drink and you're dieting or you're trying to stay healthy. That's the way to go.
Well, let me bring up one more to you here, which I think people of my ilk could benefit from. I don't drink much of anything at all when it comes to alcohol because I'm enough of an idiot when I'm sober.
Right.
But I do drink Diet Coke. Mm-hmm. And the fine people at the UK's Sun tabloid have a headline that caught my eye. Minute by minute, the horrifying things Diet Coke does to your body in just 1 hour.
Oh, very cool. Are we going to go through 60 minutes of this or are you going to skip around?
I'm going to give you timestamps.
Okay.
At 10 minutes, the Diet Coke you're drinking will attack your teeth.
Oh,
and specifically,
that makes my teeth hurt.
The enamel on your teeth will be damaged within 10 minutes, and you will need plaque fighting, toothpaste and things of that nature to brush your teeth.
What if you rinse your mouth out real quick after you take a swig?
I think you're ruining the ambiance and the romance of your can of Diet Coke when you do that, but that's just me. In 20 minutes of drinking your Diet Coke, your fat storage units on your body are turned on, and your body will keep fat, not lose fat. Which is what you'd like it to do. Not that the Diet Coke is going to make you lose weight, but it literally turns your fat storage on. So if you were doing something, say energetic, burning off calories while you're drinking a Diet Coke, 20 minutes in, you've negated it.
My fat storage units are turned on permanently. They don't have an off switch.
Ridiculous.
Oh, well.
That's ridiculous. You look great. 40 minutes in, your addiction to Diet Coke, that brain center that causes addiction, that's locked in. Where you will either want another Diet Coke or you'll be going, man, I know why I have to have this. This is great. And at 60 minutes, we see study after study after study that says people who drink Diet Coke are actually eating more, not less. At 60 minutes, your hunger triggers in your body are kicked on. And you get your hunger triggers together with your fat storages. Now you got troubles, lady.
Boy, all these units getting turned on. It's funny, though, because I'm not at all a soda drinker. I just don't care for it. But I've had a Diet Coke here and there. I don't find anything turning on. I don't find all of that happening to me.
Well, you got to be a complete, junkie like I am.
Okay. Are you?
No, I have Diet Coke. I don't drink coffee. So I have a Diet Coke in the morning and probably 2 more during the day, or a Coke Zero, which I like. I like the Coke Zero product.
Okay.
Which I'm sure is way healthier than a regular Diet Coke.
Exactly.
So now let me give you the opportunity to tell us about one more item that really is about being healthier.
Right.
In the last few years in this country, very few people in my world have been working on a Friday, regardless of the season.
Right.
But the summertime having that opportunity on a Friday, what do we know?
Well, there's a new poll that talks about summer Fridays. Apparently, this is like a huge thing. This survey found that 59% of adults across the country said their jobs offer summer Fridays, which is means you get either a short day or you get the day off on occasional Fridays during the season. Over 8 in 10 employees, that's 85%, say, actually, it's more than 8, it's 85%, say they benefit from the perk because it makes them feel happy at work. And isn't that, as a boss or as a worker, isn't that all we care about? Is that you're happy at work?
I don't know that I've ever worked for anyone that cared that I was happy.
I don't know if I've ever known anyone that cared if I was happy.
No, that is the ultimate goal, and that's how you get better work out of people. But the Fridays off thing.
My daughter gets a half day Fridays.
Well, that's good.
She absolutely loves it.
I have a buddy who's been quite successful, and he always offered a half day off on Fridays, but the agreement was, and it was voluntary, that you would contribute time to charity.
Oh, that's neat. That's very cool.
So you could have a half day off, but you got to go do something good in the world.
Right. You're not going to go sit home and play video games.
Right.
Right.
Unless it's a charitable video game.
The Deep Six. Number 4.
We talked about some things that are maybe good for you, or things health-wise you should consider. How about things that are bad for you?
Okay, you start.
I'll start with the Russian McDonald's. As you know, after that lunatic Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. Eventually, McDonald's left as a corporation. The company itself in the restaurants, and there's a lot of them, 850, were ceded to a developer named Alexander Govor, and he had held licenses for 25 McDonald's franchises in Siberia. You know, going to a Siberian McDonald's sounds like a punishment. I don't know.
That's where I'm going to take my kid's birthday party next year.
Yeah, you should see the Happy Meal. There isn't one. You're in Siberia.
It's an unhappy meal.
Yeah, exactly. So what they've done is get this together as quickly as they can, and they were busted with a viral photo, which you may have seen, where like the sauce packets that had the McDonald's crossed off, like with a pen. And there's a Russian name for the new restaurants, but basically it comes down to the translation being tasty. They're tasty.
Okay, well,
better
than
if you
not tasty.
Yeah, if you go to the Moscow McDonald's, try the McPutin.
Ew.
Yeah, the McPutin.
McPoutine.
Yeah, it's very, very, very tasty. And the Vlad nuggets, those are also something you should probably stay away from. But if you think those are a bad idea, you know what I haven't had in a while, and I can wait a little longer, is Velveeta.
Oh, Velveeta. You know, what is it about It's like cheese Jello. It's the weirdest texture. You know, and I get it. I mean, a lot of people use it when they want to do melty things, like on, you know, tortilla chips or whatever. You want to make that kind of thing. But there's really no reason for Velveeta. Well, now Velveeta has teamed up with some cosmetics company, and they've made something that I find to be like incredibly unuseful. A nail polish that looks and smells like cheese. Like, isn't that the kind of thing you want to scrub off your nails? Like, oh God, I got cheese under my nails. The Velveeta nail polish costs $15. And I mean, first of all, just grab a bag of Cheetos and your fingers are going to turn orange anyway.
Sure.
And it's a little cheaper than buying the nail polish.
So you just take the Cheetos and you just rub them on your nails and save yourself the effort.
Right. Exactly.
The Deep Six, number 5.
Sex item.
Oh, we always love the sex item.
The sex item this
we
time
actually
around.
should do more topics on sex. I don't think we do enough.
Yeah, well, that's on the cable version of this show. Remember cable?
That's right.
Used to be a thing. There's a study
X.
out. There's a study out that I believe you have, which has some very amusing things in it, if it's the study I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And these are the things that people say after they have sex.
Yes. After a sexual encounter, the most common things they say. So they discovered that men most often say things and this will turn a girl on, I have to go.
Wow.
Or, when can we do that again? Which is a little bit nicer. Or, did you enjoy that? That's not really the words, but
yeah.
You know.
What was the second one again?
It was, when can we do that again? Which is, okay, that's nice.
All right, well, what does a woman say?
So women are most likely to say things like, don't fall asleep. And here's my favorite, where's my phone?
Wow. I have to say, no matter how addicted we are to our phones, if a woman says, where's my phone? You ain't that good, pal.
Or she's going to take a picture of something.
Right. And then immediately show it to her friends and start giggling.
And then once you've been frisky, the compliments from men include, wow, which is really poetic, or I needed that. Yes, you needed that.
You
That's great.
Selfish creep.
Where women's compliments include, you're amazing and I love being with you. So at least they're actual compliments as opposed to, wow, and I needed that.
Now, I've never said these things, but I'm just curious if they made the list. What about bingo or Yahtzee? Does anyone yell those things out?
Boy, that would put a quick end to the evening. Bingo.
All right. And you and I are both in big cities. You're in Manhattan, you're downtown New York City. I'm in downtown Chicago. And we were just talking before we started recording this episode of the Deep Six. And we both have had, and it fits perfectly in the sex item.
Yes.
We both have had these voyeuristic experiences just during the course of our work day.
Well, we have been forced into becoming voyeurs.
Right.
Just simply because at my radio station, I look out the window to this big, new, beautiful, glassy building that has usurped my view of the Statue of Liberty. And instead, what I see are naked people in their windows and in their apartments. And they don't seem to like have any sense that, gosh, if I can see out, they can probably see in.
So they're kind of showing off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, one woman in particular just like will be full on naked, or she'll take her shirt off. But then one time, and everybody, because there's another radio station in our group next windows down. And so we were calling each other and going, did you see what you're doing? And she's looking at us and she presses her body up to the window.
Wow.
And then she turns around and jams her butt against the window.
And did she hold up a sign that said, my OnlyFans sign on is this, and you owe me money? That's
what I was thinking. Like, she should mount a I don't need to use the word mount. Yeah. She should have a camera on our building and a camera on her own, so she can videotape herself doing that and us sitting there aghast at what she's doing. So, okay. So that was a few weeks ago. And then she got religion or something, and haven't seen much of her. So then today, a guy about 4 stories down from her, we look over there. Well, first of all, we're on the radio and we're talking about something. And then we turn the microphones off. And a guy from the show comes running in. He's an Australian guy. And he runs, "We've got penis. We've got penis." Turns out not all the microphones had been turned off. So that went on over the radio during a commercial. I'm sure that they're going to ask for their money back, the commercial guys. But so we look over there and there's a guy sitting at his desk, completely naked, occupying himself.
And by occupying himself, you mean he was looking for his keys. I'm going to try to give you all the analogies that are possible.
Yes. He was searching his pockets, even though he had no pants on.
Right. He was, well, listen, we could go deep on this.
I knew I left a couple of golf balls in here somewhere.
Right. That's what we're talking about. And in Chicago, it should have been obvious, but the program director, the boss's window, looked directly into the guest windows at the Hotel Intercontinental next door.
Oh, geez. Perfect.
And there were people who just didn't close their blinds in the heat of the moment, but there were a couple that just wanted to show off.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. And I guess that's it's kind of funny because, I was attempting to take a picture of this guy and someone in the room said,
specifically for legal reasons.
Right. That's a private residence. And I said, it's a private residence with a person who is occupying himself
right
in front of a ceiling to floor window with the sun shining in on his magnificent body. So I don't know. Is that privacy? Is that a privacy issue?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just amazing how an entire office can be turned into perverts by that almost instantly.
Yeah, we're all 13 years old at that point.
Right.
The Deep Six, number 6.
And we're going to end where you thought we might, and that's on Bigfoot.
Well, of course we have to end on Bigfoot. I don't know. Do you ever watch Expedition Bigfoot on the Travel Channel?
Well, for the sake of this bit, let's say yes.
Oh, you're kind of a jerk now.
Of course I do. I never miss an episode.
Well, so I just got this thing that popped up and said, "Oh, you have to catch the most recent episode of Expedition Bigfoot. We have actual video of Bigfoot." And they have like all these different episodes. And of course, it's not always Bigfoot. Sometimes it's a Yeti. Sometimes it's Sasquatch or whatever.
You're a Yeti.
Sometimes it's a guy across the street in an apartment.
Right.
But it's an interesting show. I mean, do you believe in any of that stuff?
I believe it's possible. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't we at some point have found this thing? If that
I mean, technically you could say they have, because they've taken pictures and Bigfoot has just gotten away. It's either that or it's a roving band of fat, unshaven tourists who wander in the woods.
Now, there's an article that on the Travel Channel's website, 10 of the best places to spot Yeti, Bigfoot, and Sasquatch, not all together, separately. I don't even know. They may be the same things. But they talk about Washington State, where it's actually a law on the books in Washington to harm what they call the ape-like cryptid. But Bigfoot, you're not allowed to do anything. Like if you want to catch one, Apparently, there were some people who were attempting to catch one and do it harm so they could study it. And they discovered that.
Isn't that the plot for E.T.?
Yeah, exactly. It's the evil government is always trying to capture these things. Now, there's a group called the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or if you're in the know, it's called BFRO.
Oh, yeah, the
BFRO.
Yeah, the BFROs, yeah.
And so they are, simultaneously interested in finding this thing, but also protecting it. So they kind of go from state to state. They say that another great place to see them is Willow Creek, California. They've seen them crossing the Willow Creek in the Six Rivers National Forest. Obviously, the Himalayas. I'm not going to the Himalayas to see a Yeti, but that's apparently where they are noted for being. Ontario, Canada. There's a bunch of them. There's a place called Whitehall, New York, which is declared the Bigfoot of the East, the Bigfoot, place of the East, if you want to go look there. The Blue Mountains of Oregon, they've had tons of sightings. In Florida, they say it's kind of weird because usually Sasquatch likes cold weather, but they have a thing down there that they refer to as a skunk ape. And they say they've been around there for a couple hundred years. And then in Ohio, of all places, like what Bigfoot's going to go to Ohio? They say a woman outside a gym in Ashland, Ohio, spotted a large gray hairy creature. Well, there's a lot of those at gyms usually.
Yeah.
About 30 yards when she left from the workout. She got in touch with the founder of BFRO. His name, by the way, Matthew Moneymaker. And he said, oh, yeah, I've encountered numerous Bigfoot in Ohio during my time. So
is it possible that the guy's Matthew Moneymaker is in it just for the money making?
I guess it's a possibility, but maybe it's a real name. So, yeah. So the only other places they mention are the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I don't know how to say this name in Arkansas, Fouke.
Well, you're a nice person, which is why you didn't say that name.
What's the name you would say?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds sort of like fuck Arkansas, and that doesn't seem right because there are nice people there.
Yeah, they're nice people there. Yeah, they said that a Bigfoot attack in fuck inspired a film called The Legend of Boggy Creek. And so, yeah, there you have it. If you're going to be looking for Bigfoot, those are the places to go.
If you're looking for Bigfoot and you're bringing Bigfoot in to test him, this is a creature covered in hair that's very large, that lives in the woods.
And by the way, they used to think that it was a very docile creature. Not so. They think they're kind of mean. So watch out.
Yeah. And I would just say, if you're in charge of bringing Bigfoot in, Bigfoot isn't going to smell real great. Bigfoot hasn't had a shower in a while.
Well, it's funny you say that, because one of the signs that it may be a Bigfoot and not something else is they say it's a really strong, powerful odor that they leave behind.
What a shock.
Isn't that funny?
What a shock. He'd be out in the woods and he'd smell funny. Yeah, it's so strange. Listen, we bring you these stories so you don't have to find them yourself. Again,
right. This is science.
It's just science. It's 2 Friends, 6 topics, 30 minutes or more for your dining and dancing pleasure. Patty Steele in New York, Steve Cochran in Chicago. Where can I listen to you on the radio?
You can listen to me on CBS FM. It's 101.1 in New York City. And by the way, if you're going to dance with me, don't be Bigfoot. I don't want to be stepped on.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I'm making a note of it. And you can hear me on WLS, the Big 89 in Chicago, along with, of course, here. Our primary concern is that you always catch us on the Deep Six. Thank you, Ben.
You're delicious. Thank you.
I'm not Bigfoot.
Thanks for listening. The Deep Six. Subscribe, rate, follow, or review at pattysteele.com or cochranshow.com.
Once again, welcome to my friends from Cantini Golf. Terry Hanley and the great crew he has there at Cantini have earned their spot of one of the best you can play. And continually, the accolades continue to come in about Cantini. So obviously, you need to put it on your I got to play Cantini list. Maybe you're a regular. You already know. Or maybe you played it before and haven't played it in a while. Maybe you've never played it. Get to Cantini this summer. CantiniGolf.com. But right now, I want to talk to you about something they do there that they're very passionate about, and it's going to change your game. What is it? Club fitting. Club fitting. You're saying, Steve, why do I need to have my clubs fit? Really? Well, why do you need to have your clothes fit? Golf's hard enough. You get your clubs fit to you, your swing, your game, you're going to play better and you're going to enjoy it more. And they have Paul Taylor on site, tour quality experience. He has worked with the best players in the game, and he'll work with you. It's going to be a fun process. You're going to enjoy it. And you got to get fit. Or you can buy this as a gift for somebody you love that loves golf. Man, what a great golf gift. Certified specialist Paul Taylor can help the beginners, the middles, and the best players make sure they've got the right equipment in their hands. You'll work on shaft and grip and loft and lie. You can do just a driver if you like, maybe do your irons. Your putter is super important, and their putter fitting is better than ever, or do the full bag. And by the way, no pressure on buying clubs. They're going to fit you to clubs and suggest the right brand for you. And if you want to do it, great. But absolutely no pressure to buy. You're just going to walk out with the notion of, these are the clubs that fit. This is my specs. This is what I need. It's an easy process. As I said, it's a fun process. There are no stupid questions. Ask anything you like. And dare I say it again, you're going to have fun. And imagine how much fun you're going to have when you take your newly fit you to the golf course and play better than you've played in forever. So go see Paul Taylor and see the fine people at Cantini and get fit. Call the Academy and say, I want to get fit. I want an appointment. 630-260-8199. 630-260-8199. Or book your appointment at cantinigolf.com.
30 years plus on the airwaves. You have turned your dial to me. Now you're tuned into my podcast. It's live from my office, Steve. From Ithaca, New York to Carolina South, W. Cochran, Steve. From Minneapolis and then Chicago twice, top-rated shows achieved. Sit back, relax, and now listen to my show. When or wherever you are, 'cause you're on the go. A-list celebs with some laughs and great info. Live from my office, the Steve Cochran Podcast Show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No better place to be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Subscribe and like for free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Live from my office, Steve. So glad you're with me. It's live from my office, Steve.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.